Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading session, TGIF. Woohoo! Hold on a second here while I get you my monitor. Okay, we just had the market open, and it's a rather soft open compared to the overnight. Let's take a look here at the overnight on the Raptor. And you're going to see the overnight relatively flat, pretty much taking over from where the market left off yesterday. The market quit right about here somewhere. So no substantial opening gaps in the market, nothing of that nature. A very flat sideways market right now. Oh, we just printed a 4-arrow consolidation here in the hawk, and let's see if we can take it like so. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 arrows. Everything is in sync. Essentially, I know it's very early. It's only, what is it, a minute or two since the market opened. Normally, I let the market go for the first 5 minutes. That's at least the first 5 minutes, I should say. A lot of times, I won't do much the first half hour. However, being in the trading room has certain luxuries. And since I have to be here this early anyhow, I might as well take a look at a trade. The NQ has been moving out of the gate though, hasn't it? The last few sessions, it seems like we've gotten our strongest signals right out of the open. What piqued my interest to that also was this double pullback we had here on the Raptor. See, we have 1, 2 moves into the hard edge. It comes out with a with trend signal. So they're coming down here to challenge now the bottom end of this trading range that has been developing. Through the overnight. The hawk was fairly safe poke at that one because, well, our tight profit targets. Soybeans. Let's take a look at the soybean market. The soybean market has just been crazy in the overnight. Look at this. The market has been in a rally, well, for the last 2 days anyway. So the London Open way down here, very, very quiet for soybeans in the overnight. They start to get active, it looks like, about an hour or so before the session opens. But yesterday, a strong trending day, and today, look at this, most of the overnight pushing much, much higher. So this will look like a big opening gap to traders this morning. Given where it's left off and where it started. So a little bit of caution due for the soybean market. Jim tossing us some market information here. It looks like the advanced decline pretty even up at the moment, about 1300 to, oh, it's actually just shifted. So around 1270 buyers, 1330 sellers. So the advanced decline numbers just turning a touch bearish. But the bank index seems to be moving higher, which is contradictory. Here's crude oil this morning on the Falcon, and you can see yesterday, of course, big chop fest. Settled in a little bit through the overnight. Here was the London Open right around here. Got a trend change signal. Actually, that was a late filter entry signal also. Followed by yet another late filter entry signal. very nice decline going into the market open, and now all of a sudden they're getting some traction. Probably because this too is going to look a little bit like an opening gap right through here. All right, so here's another attempt both on the Falcon and the Raptor to try to push the market lower. And I might dial this back a little bit. So we're back here to the bottom end of the trading range. This is a little bit dangerous because there's a very good chance that the market is just going to try to poke through, and then the buyers might try to recover it. Yeah, you see how we're starting to get this spike down here? Oh, they better not be running stops. Come on, sellers, where are you? Let's get a little bit of follow through there now, boys and girls. There we go. That's the kind of move you want to see when you're breaking a significant area of support or resistance, not just because it's profitable, but because it shows you the collapse of the buyers. It shows you that the buyers are leaving their positions in droves. That's why the market moved that quickly. It's called trapping traders, and it's a very nice thing to see when you're on the right side of the trade. So we didn't get somebody just poking their toe in the water and then get the big reversal. We actually had some commitment here. Look at that spike. Now the sellers or the buyers still very weak. Look at this. No buying action going on whatsoever. Now if the sellers start to get bigger here on the Geiger counter, come on, dialometer, let me drag you around this way. There you go. If we start to see the selling pressure build and the buying pressure remain low like this, this market is going to fall and fall quickly. No, they're still pretty shallow for the most part. So this was this block of sellers here that overwhelmed the buyers on our support level. But where's the follow through now? Come on, sellers, where are you? Get in there. Jim's got quite the expressions. He's calling this one puking on their shoes. Great question here from Paul. Paul is asking, Eric, is there a website that will give news which might affect commodities? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, there is. And Indicator Warehouse has put together a couple handy tools. This is one of them. It's the trading calendar. It's essentially the same information that you can find at several websites like this across the internet. This one, if you're going to be an Indicator Warehouse anyhow, checking out the blog or whatever, you may as well check out the economic calendar. It's always hard to say, like there's always the big ones, right? The non-farm payroll report is always huge. FOMC meetings, always huge. WSADE meetings, World Agricultural Supply Demand estimates, always huge. These little ones, not so much. But there it is for you, for your information. Oh, and they also have, this is new, a trading clock. And I'll get you this info also if you want to check that out. It's kind of cool. Gives you, oops, I need to, okay, set on Eastern time. There's probably somewhere in here where you can set it to local time. But it tells you, you know, obviously it's after hours here in the Asian sessions. It gives you the start times. So another interesting little tool. Okay, we had some buyers show up here, but so far no follow through. We're fairly even between the buyers and the sellers. I'm looking to see the sellers pick up a little bit more momentum here and maybe drive this market lower. You know, I've been fairly bearish on the NQ for a little while now, and it's looking like we may finally see that decline. Maybe. So we had comparable signals across the board on the Falcon. Here was the sell signal on the Falcon. Oh, late filter entry signal. Just pre-market. Great opportunity there on the NQ Falcon. Great with trend signal right on the open. Did we reach our profit objective there? Yes, we did. So great signals across the board. Looks like we're in a pullback here, and they're going to try to tag me at break even. Get down there. So big block of buyers come through. There's some selling going along with it. No, there they go. They just tapped it. Oh well. It was still a good trade. Nothing wrong with that. And it's still early. If you had placed orders in all of your birds, you'd be done. You would be done right now. 15 minutes into trading. Thank you very much. See you later. I bet I can get a good tea time. Well, we'll let them do their thing here for a moment. Hopefully they won't dry up too much. Just another reminder, this is going to be our last session for a few weeks. We will be resuming July 13. Jim says the DAX is bottoming out. We'll see. We've had them pay off one direction, so right now we'll give the sellers the benefit of the doubt. Notice our first micro-macro cross signal here. Notice the bounce on the hard edge, both on the Raptor and the Eagle. Possible trend change signal here. I'm surprised nobody has asked. Should we be taking that first micro-macro cross? Curtis is asking, when does the chat room resume? July 13. You'll be receiving notification of it. So is it a first micro-macro cross? Yes. Is it a high probability signal? Yes. How do we protect ourselves? Well, the problem, of course, is that right now we are more in a downtrend, aren't we? The market has already paid off to the downside. I think what I would be looking to do is, rather than enter right on the hash mark, I would give up the 3 ticks to enter above the high. Frank was asking about this yesterday. I think this is a situation where it's more prudent to give up the 3 ticks to enter above here than to enter right on the hash mark. I'm hoping it drifts low enough that it gets into yellow bars and I actually don't need to deal with it. Kay is asking, wouldn't it be recommended to enter right above major resistance? Well, yes and no. Here's the problem. Okay. If we enter above resistance, there's no guarantee the market's going to keep going, right? It may just poke up, and it could be a bunch of sellers here with a big bat waiting to pounce on anybody who tries to buy it and force the market lower. It's like that game Whack-A-Mole, right, that you see at the amusement park. It's the same kind of situation. What do we prefer to do? Well, the method of preference is to let it break a resistance area, retest, and come back. Notice, however, what's going on right now. We're retesting the other way, looking for the market to perhaps head lower. Right? See how we're retesting here? The buyers have managed to bring the market up. Where did the sellers step in? Right here. Now we're still working on our first micro macro cross signal. It hasn't tripped yet, thank goodness. But entering this signal, even though it's a high probability signal, everything, it becomes a little bit problematic. If I take it here, I'll definitely need to cover it down here. And you can see that at this stage, there's no point in waiting to enter above the high because I'm giving up my whole profit objective just to get entry. In fact, is the Raptor the only one that might be signaling a sell? So see, we have all this support back here. The market's come back, it's retesting. Remember when we were looking to sell right here on this support? And I said the dangerous part of this support, trading the breakout, is that the market might just poke through and then it starts to trend a little bit higher, right? That's the dangerous part. You get those fake breaks, but we did see commitment when the buyers evaporated. They stepped in here around 44.90. Now we're looking to see what happened to the sellers. Where are the sellers? Where'd they go? Yeah, any bias the market had is all but disappeared here for the moment. Jim says the advanced decline pretty much even up. So it is a coin toss. Well done, Mark. Mark's already hit his profit target. Well done. He says I'm going to have to up my goal. Exceeded it right after the market opened with 2 trades. Taken between 7 and 8.40 Central in the Hawk. Made 385, done for the day. Way to go. Good job. It's good to have profit objectives. It's good to have trade quotas. See, Mark's smart. He's stopping. Yeah, there's going to be opportunities that he's not going to participate in, but you know what? He's got money in the bank. How easy would it be to lose that 385 profit? Probably not all that difficult. That's how you build an account. And if you don't think so, I'll show you my cell phone bill. All these nickel and dime charges. See, darn DTS is smarter than I am. I should have just taken the trade. You know what it is? I was protecting my profit here. I was protecting my 150. But the system knew we were going to get a rally. That's all right. Won't be the last trade I miss. Oops. Let's get that out of there. Sorry about that. How's that? Was I sitting on my mute button again? Sorry. Thank you for telling me so quickly. Sometimes I go on for a little while. Paul was asking about the bid and ask. Paul asked, when someone hits the bid, are they a buyer, and the ask, are they a seller? The bid is the purchase price. So yes, if you're buying the bid, you're buying the purchase price. The ask is the seller. So actually, I guess if you hit the buy market button, it's the same as the buy bid. And if you hit the sell market button, it's the same as selling the ask. Because you'll go in at whatever price you can get. Oh man, look at them go. That NQ, something else. Kay is asking about the trade forecaster. How do I use the trade forecaster? I use it a lot as a way to confirm what's going on. Kay's asking, do you just trade the prominent bird? So right now we're in trend mode for about 10 minutes. Would I just focus on trading the eagle? No, not at all. The trade forecaster tells you what the current market environment is and what the next one is likely to be. And it does this in much the same way as a weatherman predicts the weather. Now, before you start rolling your eyes, this is actually more reliable than the weatherman. But what it does is it looks back in the history of the chart. You know, what a lot of people don't understand about weather forecasting is what a weatherman actually does is he doesn't just look out the window and read the barometric pressure. What they do is they take the information from history. So they'll computers do all this now. Before they had to have certain tables and charts and so on, but they'll look at things like cloud formations, humidity, barometric pressure, and so on and so forth. And they will say, oh, okay, we had similar situations 2 years ago, and this was the weather as a result. Or we had this exact same thing happen 5 years ago, and the weather was like this. So that's actually how weather forecasting works to some degree. The trade forecaster works in a very similar fashion. It analyzes the current market conditions and it looks back in the history of the chart and it says, oh, well, last time the market was doing this, this was the result. And then after that, this happened. And so what the trade forecaster is telling you is just because we're in trend mode does not necessarily mean that we're going to see the market go to the moon. It might, but what it tends to describe is a steady progression in the market. Look at what's been happening here on the Hawk and or in particular the Falcon. Nice steady progression, minimal pullback, you see maybe one bar, no major swings, nothing like, oh, well, yesterday was pretty good too, but nothing like this, where you go up a little ways and you get a swing, up a little ways and a swing, up a little ways and a swing. I guarantee you that when this was going on, the trade forecaster was in scalp mode. So the trade forecaster actually helps you identify what the current market condition is and alerts you to how to best handle this environment. So at the moment, we are still in trend mode for about another 6 or 7 minutes, it says, after which we're going to be moving to swing mode. So what that tells me is when I get my first micro macro cross, if I had been paying attention to trade forecaster and saw that it was in trend mode, maybe I didn't need to cover the trade way down here. It's in trend mode. I'm not expecting any major market swings. The swings are likely to be smaller, a little bit more condensed. So that means I could probably get away with running a slightly tighter stop, maybe running a stop like this. Whereas if it said I was in scalp mode, well then I'm definitely running a deep stop because the market's likely to make some wild swings, maybe go sideways for a little while, just really churn up the market. So that's the best way I find to use Trade Forecaster. And unfortunately, I should have been paying closer attention to it because I wouldn't have hesitated quite so much to try to take advantage of that first micro macro cross. I think in the back of my mind, I still have those scars from a couple days ago where the market was trading very difficultly. You try to buy it and you get these major swings going on, and I think I was still a little gun shy to that. And swing mode, of course, would be a blend of the trend and the scalp. We're going to experience a little bit more market swinging, but still not nearly to the degree that we're going to see in something like scalp mode. So Kay's asking, so in scalp mode you would use larger stops? Yes, I would use larger stops, and I would also use tighter profits. See, in trend mode, the reverse is true. You can go with, okay, maybe in trend mode you can go with slightly tighter stops and larger profits. And then swing mode would be somewhere in between. It'd be a little bit more of a balancing act. Jim says the advanced decline actually getting kind of bullish. About 1530 to 1280, so about 200 to the positive. We'll see whether that carries through here. Okay, now we're into yellow bars. Markets made a major swing higher and lower. crude oil also starting to consolidate a little bit after the big move lower through the overnight. Hasn't done much since the open, working on a possible trend change signal here to the upside. Would much rather see this come back with a sell signal. Just to stay with trend always seems to be a little bit more comfortable for me. But we shall see what they're gonna do. It's as my wife likes to remind me, Eric, it's not all about you. Ay, 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 what a crossroads. Getting a possible red bar buy here in the Hawk. Haven't seen the test of the extreme yet, have we? We do know that these tend to develop toward the end of a trend. Okay, now we're working on our first micro macro cross lower. Okay, so now we are in full-on swing mode. If we were still in trend mode, or speaking of the trade forecaster, I might consider placing a tighter stop here. Swing mode, however, the problem is that we haven't really seen the test of the extreme here, have we? So it's possible that the market could retreat maybe to 45.12, maybe even as high here as 45.15. So this is a situation where I think I'm going to be a little bit more comfortable running a very deep stop and just allowing the market to do its thing. Now this is a much more aggressive posture. Obviously we need to see the sellers recover this recent swing low here without the buyers giving them too much. Here we go. Come on now. Come on, it's only another couple ticks. You can do it. You can do it. We'll see the commitment here too. If they get below here, if we get the market falling off very quickly again, then we're going to know that the sellers truly do have control of the marketplace. Come on, come on, get down there. In fact, if I were looking to add to a position, this would be a good place to add to it, below the lows. And we're getting a comparable signal here on the Falcon. We're getting our trend change signal with an opportunity on a second push on this entry also. Now here too, the problem is how far back do I have to cover the trade? Because again, we don't have a test of the extreme yet, right? We haven't retested the highs. So can I cover it way up there? Yes, I can. Let's see if I enter just one tick below the low. I'll choose to hold my stops, or maybe I'll go with the swing high low. How long are we going to be in swing mode? Oh, only for about 20 minutes, after which we're going back into trend mode. Well, that's good. There's always that concern that you're going to end up going into scalp mode, which is annoying. All right, we can cancel that order. The signal has since disappeared. If the sellers manage to come back now, we will have a late filter entry signal here on our Falcon, and that would be a good sell. All right, so here they come. We've got the warning dot. There's the other warning dot. It's going to print down here. I'll risk above the primary resistance, which is that blue line right there. I am taking a more aggressive stance here. Sometimes on the Falcon, you will get two warning dots and then print the signal on the third. So I'm anticipating that we're going to print this signal if this bar closes low. If not, I'll adjust the trade if it moves, unless it moves too fast. All right, so there's the signal. this support here around 45.02, aren't they? They have dug in there like an Alabama tick. Does not want to give it up. Come on. So very tight little tug of war going on at the moment. All right, so let's see. We didn't get slipped. That's good. That's a nice change. Okay, so where are the sellers now? Come on, sellers. Finish what you started. Jim says the DAX is selling off. He says, don't worry, the buyers will give it up soon. Come on. We'll throw that on the shelf for now. Come on, you can do it. Here on the Hawk, we came back with a macro pullback signal, which tripped about the same place as our first micro-macro cross signal. All right, hooray for us. So our late filter entry signal worked out pretty darn good. Look at this. Now we're getting support again just shortly after hitting our profit objective. It amazes me how often that happens. So a pretty good day. Nice way to go into the weekend. Jim says the advanced decline is dead even. 14.16 to 14.18. That's amazing. They're even like that, and yet we saw the market tail off. Taking a look here at crude oil, which remains very, very quiet, very unlike crude. Starting to get some yellow bar clusters here on our Hawk, which is suggestive of a sideways market. We do have a higher swing low. working on a possible green bar sell, which occurs at the end of a downtrend. But crude in a very, very tight trading range this morning. So they opened right around here, around 59, got down to, what's that, about 58.75, and they got as high as 59.15, so very, very tiny range for crude. In fact, if you were so inclined, I don't see too much wrong with bracketing this range and just letting crude tell you which way it wants to go. Now, of course, stop placement is going to be a little bit difficult here, but the congestion is obvious, I think. Jim thinks we're going to head down here and test the morning low, so that it should see the market trading back around 44.90. I could see that. At the moment, however, we are still on hold. Soybeans also starting to become a little bit more range bound. Here's soybeans on the hawk. You can see we have a nice double bottom here. Don't have a top end of the trading range yet, but here too, look, we're getting a green bar sell, which tends to develop near the end of a trend. So it does look like, see how the market is getting a little bit shallow out of this trading channel, broke through the top side. It's possible that that's all the sellers are going to get out of this market, and we could see soybeans rally. That would have more or less filled the gap from the overnight. Yeah, it would have filled almost filled the entire gap from the overnight session. Now, red bar buy, green bar sells, those signals that tend to develop toward the end of the trend, of course, you can take them with trend. I tend to enter on the hash mark and give them a little bit of breathing room if I'm going to go on the with trend side. This is also our counter trend signal, which we could actually look to buy the failure. So we've produced a signal, a green bar sell signal, but I could look to buy on a move higher. The nice thing about taking the counter trend version of it is that it's fairly obvious where you need to cover the trade, namely below the lows. The other thing you can do with it is you can simply use it as an early warning that perhaps the trend is changing, and you can be on the alert for a first micro macro cross higher, because you will get a first micro macro cross signal if this market is in fact continuing to trade higher. We're now at the bottom of the hour. A lot of times the market will reverse on any dominant trend it has had. Don't know if we've really had a dominant trend today. We've seen a move higher and a move lower. Another late filter entry signal here on the Falcon. You know, we only tend to get a couple of these within a trend. So it doesn't really excite me to see another one this soon. Well, if you're looking for a quality trade, I'm not sure this is going to be it. All right, we'll throw the order in. This is more for the sake of the trading room. My day, if I were trading my account, my day would be done. For Friday, to go 3 for 3, my day would be done. Starting to see things unwind a little bit now. This bar that's currently working on the Falcon, this is a big deal, this one. If it heads lower, it should fill our order. If it heads higher, I'm going to nix the order. Jim says the advanced decline still slightly bearish on its bias. So here's this green bar sell. One, two, no, it's not a 4-arrow consolidation yet. This green bar sell might have been, well, I don't know if I want to say a little bit more inviting. This may end up being the test of the extreme here, but looking at this also gives me the sense that this is a bear flag. Let's see, what's that Falcon doing? No, the Falcon's turned bullish. The Raptor might be producing a very quick double pullback. We'll keep an eye on that. We missed the hash mark back here, but remember the hash mark is only a suggested entry. Let's see if I was on the hash mark. Oh, we're about halfway to our profit objective. If we didn't have this little swing through here, it would have been a lot easier shorting that green bar sell, because we would be looking for the test of the extreme. There they go. All right, so here we're getting a signal now on the Raptor. Maybe I'll delay my signal until my entry until we get on the other side of this trend line. So the Geiger counter put in a big peak to the upside. Now we've got a spike to the downside. Come on, where's that follow through? Our needle is full on red where the sellers are selling like crazy. Is all that buying pressure or selling pressure being absorbed by the buyers? Kay is asking, are we looking at an ascending triangle in the Falcon? Well, maybe. Problem with some of these things is they're a lot more obvious in hindsight. All right, so there's the breakdown. This low here, instrumental. Come on, let's go. Come on, don't stop now. We're only a couple of ticks from our break even. I'm not going to incur a loss, so I'm going to snap to break even right now. Come on. You know you want to. Jim says the advance declined about a negative 200. He says, here we go, Eric. Puke it up time. Come on, Bears, where are you? See, we got the spike down here in the histogram. Where's the follow through? We can shoot a trend line like that, and we can see the trading channel that the market's more or less respecting. Okay, so we've hit our break even. Get down there now. Give me my profit target. I'm going to lock in $100. That's it. I'm going to give them that bar right there. And I know I'm squeezing the market really hard. It's very likely going to head lower, but I don't want to give them too much wiggle room here. Either take me out or hit my profit target. Yeah, like Kay, way to go, Kay. Kay picked this up from yesterday where I was talking about the trader who trades by feeling. And Kay says, would you like to take the $50 for sure, or would you like to have a chance to achieve the profit target? That's exactly the case. Okay, so we got profit on one. And you know what, guys? All joking aside, that trader does very well for himself. He's got a beautiful house, just bought a new car, paying cash for the renovation on the house. Come on, get down there. So these double pullback signals that we get here on the Raptor, definitely a signal I like to look for. This one was especially strong because it came out, everything was in sync. I was a little reluctant because of the trend line to enter on the hash mark. Regardless, the trade is working out. It's not splitting hairs, which is fine with me. I think I may even go with the bar high-low now. And just squeeze the trade all the way down. Good question here from Josh. I never considered it. Josh says, is the Raptor double pullback applicable to the Eagle? I don't know. Let's go take a look. The Eagle band, of course, is incorporated here into the Raptor. Not at the current brick size. The Eagle just behaves differently, partly because of the programming, partly because of the brick size. If you do not have the Raptor, you might simulate a double pullback. Now notice I said simulate, you're not going to duplicate, by dialing down the brick size, because the programming on the Raptor and the Eagle is different. So with the smaller brick size, I guess we did get a double pullback right here. Also produced a green bar sell, which had a nice move lower. This one was just pure congestion. That would have been very difficult to see a double pullback there. Here's a double pullback that did not follow through. That should have had a little bit more going on for it to the downside. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at it a little bit more. Like I say, I suspect that a smaller brick size, you might simulate it. You won't duplicate it because it is something that is unique to the Raptor programming. You could play with it. You know, there's no harm in doing that. So the Eagle produced its own signal right here, its own sell signal. But overall, it's been a very good morning. Markets have been a little bit more cooperative than usual, or than they have been for the better part of the week anyhow. Oh, our soybean trade also worked out. So here was the soybean trade we were looking at. So we have gone, what, 5 for 5? That is fantastic. So here was our first micro-macro cross signal. I forget where I covered it, down here I think. Must have got slipped a tick on the entry. And they took their time, but they reached the profit objective, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Does not matter much how long it takes them to get there, so long as they get there. While I'm taking the break for the next couple of weeks, I will also be still hosting the Wednesday morning open house. So if you guys want to pop in at that time, just schedule it on your calendar. Wednesday mornings. Interesting question here from Carrie. Carrie asked, does it make more sense to play all three birds or to pick one and use the other two for confirmation and entry points? That's a very good question. I know, pardon me, when Stephanie was still involved, she was a big fan of only trading in the direction of the eagle. So unless the eagle was confirming what she saw, she would not take a trade in the hawk. I'm not that specific on it because I know each of the tools have been programmed individually. Right? The hawk might produce a short-term scalp, whereas there may not be a trend signal yet in the eagle. To answer your question, however, I think when you're starting out, there might be a benefit to watching or concentrating on one of the tools. More likely than not, it's either going to be the hawk or the falcon, because the eagle, being the trending tool, does not generate signals quite as frequently. The best days are going to be those days where the market confirms itself, right? Where everything is in sync, like what we're seeing here today. The eagle is bearish, the falcon is bearish, the hawk is bearish. These are the kinds of days where trading is relatively easy because everything is in sync. Those days that are a little bit more difficult, well, they're like here, let me bring over crude oil. So here's the crude oil hawk, which is neither bullish nor bearish. Here's the crude oil falcon, which is working on a possible trend change signal to the upside. So it's mildly bullish. And then here is the eagle, which is about to print a sell signal. So days like that make trading very, very difficult, where none of the birds seem to line up. I always prefer to see everything in sync. It just makes it that much easier to take a trade, like this first micro macro cross that I just noticed printed here. Knowing that the falcon and the eagle and everything is all in sync, that would have made it a little bit more palatable to take this trade, even though I know full well that because the market has come down such a long way, there's a real possibility it might retreat a little bit higher. As it turns out, it did no such thing and just kept going straight lower. So I think if you're starting, pick the hawk or the falcon, get good at those, pay attention to what's going on in the eagle. Because like I said, if you see the eagle sell signal, here, let's go to the eagle. So if you see the eagle sell signal and you get your hawk first micro macro cross, this is all looking very much in sync, right? This is looking like, oh, okay, maybe I'll take this, or maybe I'll take it, but I'll sell it below the low. And likewise, our falcon trade was probably somewhere around here at the same time. Or in fact, the falcon was already moving lower. The falcon tripped early. I don't know if that helps, if that answers your question, Carrie, or not, but yeah, I think there is an advantage to getting good at one tool or one of the birds or two of the birds, at least when you're starting out. When you become more proficient with the signals, when you're not scratching your head so much saying, is that a viable signal? Should I be taking that? Is that a high probability signal? Then I think you can introduce the other two birds and start trading across the board. When the market is in sync like it is today, when it has an obvious trend to it, sometimes your biggest problem is putting your trades on fast enough. Josh is asking, can you go back to the Raptor sell on the NQ just now? So you're looking at this one right here, I think. Now this is one of these trades where it's a little bit problematic. Is it a sell signal? Yes, definitely it is. Is it one of our high probability signals? No, not so much. So this is the kind of thing, if you're going to take it, I think you need to be prepared to run a pretty deep stop, probably back here to the hard edge, maybe even above the high. So for that kind of situation, I would definitely dial down my risk. And of course, you do that manually here on the Raptor. You allocate your risk position. So it might be worth throwing a onesie in, just knowing that the market is in a downtrend today. But you're going to get this test retest thing going on. That's the more reliable way to enter this one, is recognize that we're at the lows. We've got the breach. Here's the retest. The sellers need to step up. You know, maybe around here they might let it drift as high as that. You know, get somewhere back to where they sold it off more aggressively here. Notice we have a little bit of resistance here, a little bit of support here. And then they might start coming down and the Raptor could print a sell signal again somewhere around here. That one might be a little bit easier to get into. And of course, if it does the double pullback thing, you gotta ride out some really major heat. And then it comes out and prints a sell signal probably around here. That will be much easier to stomach. Remember, with the Raptor, same thing with the Eagle, you're going to get your higher quality signals occurring either off the band or near the band, the hard edge of the band, I should say, the hard edge. It might be worthwhile also shooting a trend line across the highs. So if we get a reaction off of the trend line and a sell signal, that would be a little easier to stomach also. See, did we overshoot the trend line? No, we're holding that channel pretty well. So you can see any sales or sell signals near the bottom end of this trading range, they've got to contend with that channel or the support, possible support on the channel. There's nothing magical about these trend lines that I've drawn. I like to draw them mostly as a visual aid, right? Because you can see when the market starts to collapse. And just take your peaks. Always go for the obvious. Always, always, always go for the obvious. If you can't find a way to duplicate the channel on the bottom, take it off of the top. Or vice versa. Take the one that you can draw and just draw a parallel line. In fact, I think Ninja has a channel tool. Yeah, there you go. It even has a channel tool for you. But you can see the obvious breaks, right? I wouldn't be keen on selling through here when I've got an obvious break of the channel. Now I would start looking for a possible buy And here too, since I can't draw anything, I may just shoot a channel or a parallel line off of the channel, and look at how it followed there. There's all types of channels. There's linear channels, regression channels, all kinds of things. They have their strengths and their weaknesses. But when it comes to gauging the strength of a signal, the more things you have in your favor, the better. And for the most part, the market is behaving itself pretty well today. Oops, sorry, Josh. Josh says, no, sorry, I meant the double pullback. Yes, the double pullback into the hard edge. The market comes away from there and produces a signal. Very strong signal. Here was a double pullback. Sorry, let me do that. No, where'd you go? This was a very quick, very tiny double pullback, and we jumped on this one yesterday too, just because it came out of the open, or maybe we did that one today. What day am I in? Yeah, sorry, that was today. So we did a similar one yesterday. Here's a double pullback that never matured, came out, produced the signal, but had no follow through. Now, if you're a more aggressive trader like Jim, you might consider that buy signal because the failure of the sell signal. So that buy signal right there had a little bit of follow through to the upside. Let's see if I can find you another double pullback. This was a very big double pullback. It also produced a signal with no follow through. I think Jim actually gets really aggressive and starts buying on a failure here instead of waiting for the next signal to print. Here's a double pullback. Remember, they always have to go into the hard edge. That at least one of the two has to go into the hard edge. This should have had, if the buyers were serious, should have had some buying follow through there. They did not. Of course, you can do this on your own. You can go through your charts and you can find your double pullbacks. And there we are with the sell signal. This one had quite a few pullbacks. It's like a quadruple pullback. Still never went anywhere. All right, one more. Let me find you one more good one. Here's a decent double pullback. Notice it actually violated the hard edge, but it came back, produced the sell signal, had a little bit of follow through here, not as much as we normally see. But I think that's just kind of the way the NASDAQ's been trading for the last week, where they've been being difficult. All right, things getting a little bit quiet. I think we're seeing some profit taking as we approach the lunch hour. And you know what? We might button things up also. So if you're trading this afternoon, I think there's a chance we're going to see a little bit of a rally here. got introduced some yellow bars now on the hawk, which, you know, after such a decline, to see yellow bars forming now, that the buyers were able to muster that much effort to actually produce a yellow bar. Possible trend change signal brewing now on the Falcon, and we're well within the band now on the Eagle. So the Eagle very neutral. And we might be getting another double pullback here on the Raptor, but I'm not convinced that we're going to see a major sell-off here today. All right, you guys, you've got my email if you need to be in touch. Otherwise, enjoy a few days off next week. Remember the holidays. If you're not living in North America, this weekend, or next weekend, pardon me, is Independence Day in the US, Canada Day on the 1st. The markets are going to be a little thinner than usual, especially toward the end of the week. And I guess I will see you guys either in the Wednesday morning room or when we resume our daily trading the middle of July, July 13th. All right. Oh, yes. Yes, Phil says, Maple Syrup Day. Hooray. Canada Day. That's right. All right, you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.